Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about Outer Banks versus The Society, two very popular young adult shows on Netflix. So let's get into it. So The Society came out in 2019, and I didn't get into it at first. It took me a while. I kept seeing it on Netflix, and it was trending. It was in the top 5, and it was number 1, and I was just like, what is this show? What is this show? It took me a while to get into it. But the thing is, before I got into it, I actually had a dream about these group of kids who went on this trip and ended up in this town that they didn't know anybody. There were no adults. And I woke up and I was like, that would be a really good idea for a movie or a TV show. Little did I know that was the exact premise of The Society. So for anyone who has not seen it and you live under a rock or you're skipping over it, on Netflix like I used to do. It is about these group of kids who go on a field trip, who started to go on a field trip, but the bus driver basically drives them into another dimension where it's their same town, their same city, but there's no adults. All their parents are gone. So what I've been told is it's a modern Bird of Flies, Prey of Flies. What is that show called? I don't know. I've never read that book or know what they're referring to, but that's what everyone's referring to, and I think I'm saying it wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, please. Bird of Flies, Lord of Flies. It's a modern, take on Lord of Flies. And, everybody was watching it, and I was like, what is the show? So when I finally clicked on it, and it was slow. It took me a while to get into it, but once I got into it. Listen, I could name you the main characters, but there's just so many. There's, 6 main characters. But yeah, they finally realize that their parents aren't coming back and that they're stuck in this situation, so they nominate. Okay, so maybe I should look at the characters. Hold on. So they realize their parents aren't coming back, and before that, they're not even caring about it. They're having parties, they're completely raiding the grocery stores and just going crazy, kind of like at the beginning of COVID when you guys took all the toilet paper. That's what they're doing. They're just taking things. They're not thinking clearly, like, how long do we have to survive? When are things going to run out? They're just running the power. They're drinking. They're raiding the grocery stores. And then finally, Cassandra, which is Allie's. I haven't watched the show in a while, so I had to look it up. Cassandra, which is kind of like student body president. She's kind of like the most mature, most responsible leader. They nominate her as the leader, and she has a younger sister named Allie. And she's like, hey, we're by ourselves. We don't have our parents. We don't know what's going on. We could run out of resources. We could run out of food. We have to start prioritizing how we use the energy, and we have to start dealing the food out in portions so we don't run out, because we don't know how long this is going to last and if we're going to survive this and what the hell is going on, right? So I'll give you the main characters. We have Gareth. But I forgot his name was something else in the show. I don't think it was Gareth, but we have Gareth, which everyone loved. We had Allie, we had Harry, we had Sam, we had Kelly, we had Campbell, we had Elle and Cassandra and Will, and Becca and Luke and Helena. So that's 10 main characters. So like I said, tons of more. Way more characters than the Outer Banks. And it's basically just about these teenagers trying to survive on their own in this other dimension. And I don't know, for some reason looking at the show, I didn't think that's what it was going to be. So when it took that turn, I was like, that is really weird. What if that happened in real life? Like, you went on this trip and just came back to your same, city, but there's, no parents, or there's, no kids, you know what I mean? That's, one of my nightmares, actually. That's, a nightmare for me. That would freak me out. But they actually... I know it takes place over a couple of months, and they actually kind of band together, and they start doing really well. But of course, there's tensions. People have to start sharing their homes, like Harry. He doesn't like sharing his home. He doesn't want to share his home. And he's also against Cassandra being in charge. He doesn't like it. He thinks it's stupid. He thinks everyone should just be in charge of their own things. So he runs his mouth, gets her killed. And then Allie's put in charge because they think she's the next best thing. And honestly, I don't think Allie should have been in charge, but I didn't write the story. It's not my opinion. It doesn't matter. It's just my opinion. I don't think she should have been in charge. I think maybe Kelly, Becca, someone with a moral compass, someone who was liked by everyone and was just chill and who could think clearly. Kelly ends up being a doctor. Becca's pregnant and The thing is, we all think Becca's pregnant from Campbell, because what makes sense. Campbell and Elgin's relationship, and at first you think he really likes her and he cares about her, but he turns out to be a psychopath. Sam and Gareth get in a relationship, and they're like everyone's favorite couple of the season. And yeah, it's just one of those shows. At the end of the season, everyone had kind of turned against Allie, and you had a select group go outside of the woods to find food and resources, and they did, and they came back, and everyone had basically turned against Allie and overthrown her. And Harry was now the new lead in charge with crazy ass Campbell as his side. So it's basically like a, not Trump, but you know, I'll say like a George Bush. He's kind of less harmless as Trump. A George Bush and a Pence. I would say Allie's like Obama, right? So you have Allie as Obama, and then you have George Bush and Pence. And then Gareth comes back, and he's like, what the hell is going on? And that's the end of the season. And so I know they've been renewed for season 2. I don't know when we're getting it because of COVID. It's kind of making everything hard for everyone. So, yeah. In terms of Society versus Outer Banks, I do think Society is a lot stronger. The acting is just stronger. The dialogue's more natural, more stronger, and it's not as cheesy as Outer Banks. Yeah, Society is definitely the stronger show. But I think in terms of popularity, even though a lot of people love Society and it's very popular and very loved, I think Outer Banks might be more popular. It's more memeable. It's more pop culture, you know what I mean? So let's get into Outer Banks. Outer Banks came out in 2020. It was another one of those shows that kept popping up on my Netflix feed as the top 5. Then it was number 1. And it just kept, like, the little commercial kept replaying. I was like, this looks so stupid. I'm not going to watch this. I finally watched it, and I got hooked. It's extremely cheesy and sometimes cringy, but it's cute. It's a show about these teenagers who go on this treasure hunt, excuse me, all while looking for one of the main characters' dad who's lost at sea. So it's one of those. So the plot alone is very cheesy. And when you're comparing it to Society, which is so strong on its own and, like, very sci-fi, and then you have Outer Banks, which is about a bunch of, like, beach hippies going on a treasure hunt, it's like, you know, Society alone just sounds better. But Outer Banks is full of gorgeous actors. On a silly treasure hunt, and they're mostly shirtless surfing and on the beach, and a lot of people kind of vibe with that more because it's summer. People like beachy type aesthetics, so that, and then the dialogue is like really cringy and funny, so then it's memeable, so it's more pop culture-y, so it makes it a lot more popular than Society, even though in terms of like written on paper and acting and dialogue, the Society is better. Outer Banks is more pop culture-y, and it's more memeable, and it's more relatable to young kids. It's not as serious as a Society, so people like Outer Banks, and all the actors in Outer Banks are good looking. Every single one. It's like they just went to like a good looking Campbell's like, you're gonna be in Outer Banks, you're gonna be in Outer Banks, you're gonna be in Outer Banks, and you're gonna be in Outer Banks. So yeah, I get why people might like them more. They're both really good shows, but I think Outer Banks is more popular with the pop culture fandom, white people, you know? And then you have the Kooks and the Pogues. The Pogues are basically like the beach bums who have no cares in the world. They're barely scraping by, and they're broke, but they're happy. And then you have the Kooks, which are the rich white people. The rich people of the island who really don't have a care in the world because they're rich, and they don't like the Pogues. They're battling classes, which is kind of like real life, but, you know, it's a little bit more exaggerated in this show. The Kooks are completely unlikable, and the Pogues are likable. So, you know, I guess they did that on purpose, but the Kooks are extremely unlikable to the point where I'm just like, but I get that's how rich people are in real life, but it's just like, ew. So the main characters for Outer Banks are JJ, Kira, Poe, and John B. We're following the story through John B's eyes as he goes on this treasure hunt and looks for his dad who's lost at sea. Kira's the only girl. And I kind of like that they kind of threw that into the dynamic because she's very like this. She's actually a kook. She's rich, but she's this fun surfer hippie chick who gets hang with all these really good looking boys, and they're her best friends. So I like that whole dynamic. I don't like her storyline. I feel like as the only black, she's mixed, but, you know, she's black. The only black female character in the show, her arc, her storyline is not strong. She was basically the mom of the group and just a love interest for basically all of the boys at one point. And I was like, that's kind of played out. And she was like the boring, like responsible mom of the group. And I was like, that's also played out. Black girls can be more than desirable. Well, we're hardly desirable, but you know what I mean? She could be more than apple of someone's eye or the bossy mom of the group. Like, give her a storyline. We kind of got a storyline with her, with the whole thing with her and Sarah kind of going at it because they used to be best friends and now they're enemies, but I still kind of felt like more of Sarah's story than Kira's. So I hope for season 2, because they've been renewed, we get more of a Kira backstory and we get more Madison. Is it Madison? Madison Bailey's character. Give her more of an arc, more of a storyline, not including boys. Just give her something to act out because I mean the show is extremely. It's cheesy, but it's good, but it's cheesy. It's like a guilty pleasure. I mean, at one point, Sarah says, "Oh my gosh, dude, did you just yeet over that chain?" Who uses stand language in real life? Like this, it's like the writers almost know. The show's cringy. It's about a treasure hunt. You can't take it too seriously. So let's just throw pop culture words in there, even though we don't talk like that in real life. I don't go around saying yeet. My nephew does not go around saying yeet. So it's just like they make it a joke when they do things like that. That's like my problem with Riverdale. But that's for another video. So yeah. And then you have Sarah, who's the kook princess, who falls in love with John B, which I saw coming a mile away because they hated each other in the beginning. And I'm like, they're going to make them fall in love, right? And they do. I kind of thought it was going to be a thing like he was in love with Kira and then he fell in love with Sarah. But no. The whole Kira thing lasted for like an episode or two. And then they just moved her on to Pope. And then the John B and Sarah thing, I was just like, we all saw this coming. It's extremely boring. But yeah, that's the Society. Oh, Outer Banks. That is Outer Banks. And I already talked about Society. So those are those two shows compared, in my opinion. I do think the Society is stronger. With, like I said before, the acting, the dialogue, the settings, it's just more interesting. That sci-fi thing, that's my jam. I love sci-fi. That's my thing. I like aliens. I like other dimensions. I like sci-fi stuff. I like weird shit. So the Society wins for that. And all of the actors seem to be like generally like really chill, good people in real life. And I like that when you vibe with the characters, but then you kind of get to know them in real life and they're really vibe and chill and not all Hollywood. And then you have the Outer Banks cast, which they seem vibey and chill as well. And they're all extremely good looking and their show's fun. But what's more popular? Outer Banks. What is actually the better show? The Society. They've both been renewed for season 2. I'm more excited for the Society season 2, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen for Outer Banks season 2. Because if you watched it, no spoilers, but spoilers, Johnny B and Sarah were lost at sea, and then they were found by these fishermen, and they ended up right where they wanted to be, in the Bahamas. So I'm curious to see if they're going to pick up right from there, or they're going to do like a fast forward to where they found the treasure, and they go home, and oh, we're alive, we're not dead, we're not lost at sea. So curious to see how that plays out for Outer Banks, but more excited for the Society, because in the Society, after they turned on Allie, we kind of got the dog. The dog can travel through the dimensions. He's in the kids' dimension with them. And then he travels through at the very end of the Society season finale. He travels through, and the mom, I forgot whose mom it is reading a story to all these kids. And on the back is like all of the kids that have been lost or missing, which is the kids in the other dimension, right? Right? Are you following? They think they're missing or dead, so there's a list saying in remembrance. And the dog crosses over into the dimension with the parents, into the mom reading the story about the lost kids. So it's like, the dog knows how to go through dimensions. Who's going to figure it out? Kelly was onto it with the creepy bus driver. But who's going to be the first one to figure out how to travel through the dimensions with the dog? Because we know the dog can. And now we know the parents are alive. They're just in another dimension. What we don't know is how they got separated. Why are they separated? The bus driver, we know he has something to do with it because he drove the kids on their field trip to the other dimension. And then it was not snowed in, but like treed in so they couldn't escape. Why did he separate the kids from the adults? We know in season 1, the first season, in the first episode, the parents were fighting with him about the smell, because there was a really bad smell in the town, and he had something to do with it. And then when he drove the kids away to another dimension, the smell was gone. with the kids in the regular world, the smell was there. When he drove them away, the smell was gone. So we want to know what the parents and the bus driver were fighting about, why the bus driver separated the kids from the parents, what was the smell, who's going to figure out about traveling through dimensions, is the dog going to come back to the kids, what's going to happen with Allie, is Gareth going to save Allie? Like, there's so many questions, and I don't have those questions for Outer Banks. I'm just like, okay, so John B and Sarah are going to find the treasure, and then they're going to go back home and be like, surprise, we're alive. I'm more curious to see what's going to happen in society. It's just an overall grounded, better show. And I love Outer Banks, and I love the cast, and I think they did a great job of what they were given. I would love to see them in more serious roles or different roles, because clearly they cannot. It's just, you can't, this is, I'll keep wanting to say society because I love it so much. Outer Banks you can't really take too seriously, because it is what it is. It's a silly, friendship-based treasure hunt show. There's some serious moments in there with Pope and his dad and being the other only black character and taking his future seriously compared to, the white kids not having to worry about that. And then Sarah finding out her dad's a murderer and her boyfriend's abusive, kind of, and that her brother's a cokehead. Poor Raph. Like, he was just going through it, going through it. He had, even though he was like an asshole in the show, his scenes were almost like funny to me, like the best scenes in the show, because he was so coked out and so drugged up. It was hilarious just watching him go through that, and the actor did a really good job playing through that. So maybe I like this character because I feel like he was a good asshole, a good cokehead. So yeah, I feel like I was rambling, but that's what you're here for. If you watch my videos, I ramble. So that's the Society versus Outer Banks. Which one is your favorite? Which one do you prefer? Do you love them both equally? We all know my opinion. I love the Society more, but I enjoy Outer Banks. They're both good young adult shows, but Society, where you at? Woo-hoo, it's better. I said what I said. There's no right or wrong opinion, but I'm right. If you lay it down, if you look at the facts that I laid down for you very fastly, sorry, that's how I talk. Society is better. Outer Banks is good. Society is better. It's like Outer Banks is Britney Spears, and the Society is Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera sings better, and she's more talented, but Britney Spears is a better performer. And that is the best, Venn diagram conclusion that I could come to with comparing the two. Outer Banks is Britney Spears, and the Society is Christina Aguilera. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you guys next time.